welcome back to the Gregorio Girls channel. My name is Devin. If you are new, welcome. I run this channel with my sister Shauna. So today's video is going to be an eyeshadow tutorial using this palette right here. So this is the Kathleen Lights Dream St palette. This is one of her collabs with Colourpop. And actually, Shauna bought this for me last weekend, being the wonderful sister that she is. We went into our local Ulta and they're just starting to get Colourpop, which is super exciting. And this was like out on the display and I was like, oh my God, I love that palette. Like I've been really thinking about getting it. And that little nugget just swiped it right up and bought it for me. So thank you, Shauna, that was so sweet of you. But I was really inspired by this palette and I knew that the next time I filmed, I wanted to do a video with this. So this is the look that I came up with, kind of just like a jewel toned teal smoky eye. And I really like the way that it turned out. So if you would like to see how I got this look using the Dream St palette, then just keep on watching. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is prime my eyelids. So I'm just taking a little bit of this MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. Nothing new here, and I'm actually just gonna apply this with my fingers. I took my nails off a couple weeks ago and I've just been like doing my own nails, and honestly, like it is so nice having like full range of my fingers. This is like, I know that sounds like super weird, but it's so much easier to like work on my own eyelid with my fingers and like on clients as well when I don't have nails, because I don't have to worry about like poking myself or anybody else in the eye. So I've really been liking this, and I really like this color too. This is called Smokin' Hot by Essie, and it's just like a really good fall winter color. So anyway, I digress. So the first shade I'm gonna take is this like peachy little transition shade down here, and it's called Magical. I think. I hope I'm getting, the shades are like on the back and sometimes I have a hard time with those, but I think this color is called Magical. So that's what we're gonna go in with first. And I'm just taking that on my Morphe M573 and I'm just gonna start lightly building that up in the crease. So I really want to focus this color right here in the crease, and I want to keep it nice and round. I don't want to bring it too far up this way. That's a bad habit that I have, and that can kind of make your eyes like look like too long and kind of like droopy. So I've been trying to focus on just keeping everything nice and rounded right here. Next, on that same brush, I'm going to dip into this color right here, which is called Potion. And I'm just going to use that color to kind of build up the crease a little bit. I want to concentrate it like a little bit closer in, like right there. But this is just gonna help kind of build up the vibrancy and intensity of that crease color. And then I'm actually gonna take a clean brush. I'm gonna take a clean M504, which is just like a nice big fluffy brush. And I'm just gonna try to diffuse that line a little bit there at the top so it's not as harsh. Doing this with a clean brush really helps like not get too excessive with where you're putting the product. So I found that that's really helped me with blending. Just means that you have to have approximately 8,000 blending brushes whenever you're doing your makeup, but I'm okay with that. Okay, now before we go in with the darker colors on the lid, I do want to put a little bit of translucent powder underneath my eyes just because I already did my base and I don't want to ruin it with like blue eyeshadow under my eyes. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my Coty Airspun and that's just going to go right underneath, like where you would bake underneath the eyes if you've never used this trick before. Just get some on your beauty sponge like this and just kind of place that underneath there. And all that does is it just kind of gives like a layer of powder to catch any falling eyeshadow powder that might fall underneath as you're working here. And then you can just kind of dust it off at the end. Oh, I don't always use this trick, but when I do, it works out pretty well. And then one last thing to prep the lid before we go in with the dark color, and then I promise we'll get to the fun part. I'm gonna go back in with that paint pot again, and I'm actually just going to put a little bit, like not a lot, but just a tiny little bit right here, because this will help us lay down that first matte shadow for the smoky eye, and it'll just give the powder something to grab onto so it's not as patchy, because matte shadows, especially when they're darker colors, can tend to get a little bit patchy when you apply them directly to the lid. So this will just kind of give something, like I said, for it to grab onto. You could also use like a chubby eyeshadow stick or something if it's like the color that you're using, but I don't really have a blue or like a teal one, so I'm just gonna do this, and this trick works pretty well. Okay, so now finally for the fun part. So I'm gonna take this color right here, which I believe is called Water Bearer, and that's gonna go on my Morphe M167, which is just a nice packing brush. I say this in every video because I pretty much use this brush in every video. And I'm going to start off lightly, I hope, and I'm just gonna take this and just kind of press it onto the lid. Okay, so now that I kind of have that blue mostly where I want it on the eyelid, next what I want to do is start inviting that color up, like to blend up into the crease and the brow bone and everything. So I'm going to take my M433 and I'm just going to dip that in that Water Bearer color, like very lightly on the tip. And I'm just going to start blending that into the crease. So you can see how that color is just very softly starting to like blend up into that orange. And don't get too worried if you kind of, as you're blending, if you kind of wipe off some of the shadow that's on your eyelid, because we can just build it back up as we're blending. And then next, I'm just gonna take a clean, like even smaller, fluffy blending brush. This one is just a Morphe one that I got in a set. And I'm going to blend that crease in a little bit more. And the reason that I'm doing this with a clean brush instead of continuing to go with that brush I was just using is because that brush had product on it, and it's real easy, again, for the blue to go everywhere really quickly, or like any dark color that you're using for a smoky eye like this. So a clean brush just allows you to kind of blend it out a little bit more without making too much of a mess. And then I am gonna take a little bit more of that orange color that we were using earlier, Potion, just like a dab of it on the same brush, that M573 that we were using earlier. And I just wanna intensify this orange a little bit now that we've blended the blue up and into it. And then just because I feel like being extra, I'm gonna take my clean M504 one more time and just soften that top edge out. So next I want to add a little bit of pizzazz to the lid, because I feel like right now it just looks pretty matte and kind of flat. Like, it doesn't look terrible, but it needs a little something. So I'm gonna dip into this color right here. This is called Mermaid Boy, and it's just this like gorgeous, it's like the shimmery foiled version of the matte color that's on our lid, which is amazing. So I'm just gonna take the M167 that I was using earlier and flip it over to the clean side. And I'm just gonna start packing that onto my lid. I might wanna wet it, but I just wanna see how it looks. All right, let's wet it and see if we can get a little bit more out of it. Okay, and then once you've built that shimmer up to kind of be where you want it to be, again, I'm just gonna grab this clean little blending brush here and I'm just gonna smooth out the edges one more time. So now we're pretty much finished with the lid. I want to wipe away the powder from my under eye. You can see I have a little bit of fallout just like right here, but I want to make this point. Be careful during this step. Do not just take your brush and wipe it across your face. You want to almost kind of do like a little like press and roll action, like just kind of flick of the wrist and just kind of like dust it off. So I'm going to do my best to show you a good example of that right now. And if this area seems a little dry, like you can't really see on camera, but in person it looks a little dry, just take a little bit of setting spray before you do your lashes or mascara, and it'll just kind of like melt some of that powder down, so don't worry about that. So now I just want to repeat those steps on the bottom of the lid. So going back into that first color here, and this is my Morphe M506, it's just a really good like little blending brush. Camera's really picking that up. It's just like laying like a very light little wash of color down, and that'll help us blend out the shadows that we layer on top. All right, and now we're gonna layer Potion on top. And then finally, I'm gonna go in with that matte teal color called Water Bearer, and I'm just going to use a pointed liner brush because I want this to be a little bit more concentrated to the lash line. Okay, and then for finishing touches on the eyeshadow, I'm just gonna take this color right here, this highlight shade. It's called Moony, and I'm gonna put that on my brow bone. And I'm gonna take this color right here, which is called Sweet Dreams, and I'm just gonna use that on my inner corner. I'm just gonna take my finger and just kind of like brighten that up a bit in there. Next, I'm gonna take my Urban Decay eyeliner. This is in the shade Deep End. And I'm just gonna line my waterline with that. It actually matches that shimmer that we put on the lid really nicely. So I'm just gonna put this on my, like I said, waterline. Oh my goodness. Just to get rid of some of that negative space. You absolutely can go without an eyeliner, but for smoky eyes especially, I just like to have like a color in there. So for lashes today, I'm gonna use my Ardell Double Up 207s. These are literally one of my absolute favorite, if not like my favorite lash that I've ever worn. I don't really know why, I just love like the drama of them. They work really well with my eye shape, I guess. So this is what we're gonna use today. So really quick, we're just gonna finish up with lips and we will be done. So I'm gonna take this little lip liner right here. This is one of our favorites, as you can see. This is the NYX lip liner in the shade Natural, and it's just like a really good universal nude, I feel. And then I'm just gonna fill in my lips with my Colourpop lippy stick. This is in the shade, oh, this isn't a lippy stick. This is just the, what is this? These are the Luxe lips? I think these are called the Luxe lips. So this is the shade Appy, and again, just like a good nude. Oh my goodness, my lips are so dry today. I hope you guys can't really see that on camera because that's like really bad. I don't know why they're so dry. I swear. I exfoliated them twice this morning and I moisturized. I don't know what's going on here. All right, you guys, so here we are with the final look. I know around this time of year we get a lot of like browns and like cranberries in terms of like smoky eye looks, which I love, like myself included. I love those colors, but I wanted to bring you guys kind of a different vibe for this video, so I hope I achieved that. I know like when I first look at this palette, like you can see that you can get some great neutral everyday looks, but also like these two like bluish teal colors just like jumped out at me. And I was like, I have to do a look with those colors. So I don't really know that I would call this like a true fall smoky eye, but you get the idea. We're gonna go with it anyway. So that is gonna be it for today's video. If you are not already subscribed to the Gregorio Girls channel, please do so down below. Come join the Gregorio Girl gang. We love having you. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. I am at DebDevGregs and Shauna is at ShaunaGregs, and we will catch you guys in the next video. Mwah. Bye.